Hi, Winederlusters. Today I'm speaking with Kate Shilling, the Executive Officer of Ultimate Winery Experiences Australia.
Welcome to the Winederlust podcast. My name is Jeanene and I run a wine events business in Canberra, Australia. In this season, I'm talking to 12 specialists from the wine industry and the travel industry and asking the hard-hitting questions we all want to know leading up to Christmas. On what to serve, what to buy, and where to go on holidays. So pour yourself a glass and let's get exploring.
Kate Shilling is the Executive Officer of Ultimate Winery Experiences. Before this role, she had an impressive career in travel, and we actually connected over both being flight centre girls back in the day. Mixing wine with holidays is exactly what I love and what this podcast is all about. It's really great to soak up all the fantastic experiences available through Ultimate Winery Experiences Australia, and her little puppy Daisy even makes an appearance too. Welcome, Kate Shilling. Hi, Kate. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Jeanene.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So, my gang of wineries is called the Ultimate Winery Experiences of Australia, and we've been around for 9 years now. We started with only 9 wineries who really understood that if they did a little bit more at the cellar door beyond just a tasting or a paid tasting, if they opened the doors and let people in to experience what was going on behind the scenes, that they, as a winery, those people that visited and went beyond the cellar door, they'd really understand a little bit more about the diversity and innovation that sits behind the Australian wine scene. They become more memorable, and ultimately they go away and they buy more wine. So we now find ourselves 9 years later with 25 wineries from 16 wine regions across the country. Wow. And collectively we have put together, and we've just released our rates for next year, we've put together 98 bookable, what we would call classic winery experiences that all offer just that little bit more around what's happening behind the cellar door.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. So wine getaways are often a bit more of an adults-only experience, but some of yours could be for kids as well, like some of the...
It depends. You really got to do your research with that sort of thing. Most of our experiences are really for adults. But that said, some of the regions the wine regions are so beautiful and there's plenty for kids to do. But yeah, generally the experiences when you're booking to do an Ultimate Winery experience, it's really for the grown-ups.
Yeah, so couples and bunch of girlfriends and things like that.
Yeah,
so that sounds really good. I can't wait to do that.
Yeah, we call our classic client an experience seeker. So it's someone who loves great food and wine, but they love it even more if the wine's being poured by the winemaker who made that wine. Yeah. They're talking to the owner of the vineyard who's possibly had those vines in his or her family for, generations, and they're eating food that's perfectly matched to that wine. And the reason is it's perfectly matched is it grew in a kitchen garden just there. Yeah. And so it's all around, the experience with us is around just understanding more about the provenance of the produce and the terroir of the wine and how it all comes together and why it is such a perfect match.
Yeah, I love that small footprint of quite a lot of boutique wineries, that it's all happening right there around the cellar door. That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
With the Ultimate Wine Experiences, you were saying that there's 4 different pillars. Can you just run us through
Sure.
those?
So within the experiences, when we're looking and talking to the wineries about what they're looking to develop next, we look at 4 different categories. So we have our food and wine pillar, which is around the food and wine matching. And as I was talking about before, that provenance of the food and the terroir of the wine and what's happening on the ground to make that perfect match. So we have a lot of ways that we can bring that to life. And it's everything from picnics with beautiful local produce out in the vines to full-on formal degustation meals. Everything in between that is around our food and wine matching pillar. Our second pillar is around we call it the discovery pillar, but it's around learning, master classes, but it's not again formal lessons in a classroom. It's really fun blending experiences. So you can blend your own, they call it the blending bench at Darrenberg, where you're making your own version of the dead Shiraz there. At Tabilk down in Nagambie, they call it the winemaker's secret art. And again, it's a blending experience, but it's really about learning about your palate And again, it's in their beautiful old museum room, which is just the most stunning setting. And of course, our famous blending experience in Tassie is called the Art of Sparkling, where you make your own sparkling wine with Joseph Cromie in the Tamar Valley.
Yeah.
And again, you can put on your lab coat, you can get out all the different things, you've got your beakers, but at the end of the day, you've got a pretty amazing sparkling as well. And again, you're looking out over the winery, you can see the vines, and it's Tasmania, so it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The next pillar is the extended one, where we're combining our experiences with other things that are happening in the region. So that's where the cycling, the balloons, the accommodation, other things, we package those up. And then the final one is helping people celebrate in style. So, and we really know how to do that. We can customise any experience for any occasion. We do a lot of corporate stuff for, people wanting to meet but make it memorable, or that sort of thing. So I think that's it. 4 pillars. That's it.
Yeah. No, that sounds fantastic. I'm sold. I'm ready for my next getaway. No, that sounds fantastic.
So we all are, that's for sure.
Very much. Now, Kate, we've got some questions for you. What would we find on your table on Christmas Day?
For me, on Christmas Day, it's definitely summer food, and I'm a farmer's daughter, so we don't mind the traditional Christmas meal, but we are evolving out of that world. But for me, if I think about the wine particularly, I like to start Christmas with a Prosecco. And I think some of our Proseccos from Prosecco Road down in Victoria in the King Valley, Pizzini and Brown Brothers, their vintage Prosecco is just divine. And you can get through a fair bit of it on a nice hot Christmas, that's for sure.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. That sounds really great. Now, do you have a go-to wine gift for your wine-loving friends or family?
Yes, I do, because we sell gift vouchers. And in fact, we actually sell them through Red Balloon. We sell them direct through the wineries. And so for our experiences, and I mentioned that we had 98 experiences, they range in price from $50 per person to $1,500 per person, and all of them can be purchased as a gift. So, and in fact, it's a massive, we see it before Mother's Day, we see it before Father's Day, and then Christmas, even up until Christmas Eve, when, someone's forgotten to buy a present for someone, we get that call to say, can we please get a gift voucher? So for whether you want to do food and wine matching, masterclasses, we do some really cool blending experiences in all regions, as well as that a deeper discovery into the region. So we work with the wineries, we'll collaborate with other operators in the region, whether it's balloons, the wildlife sanctuaries, other accommodation and so on. And of course, we help people celebrate in style. So we have some amazing degustation meals too. That's what I'd be buying.
Talking about the regions. So at the moment, they're in what states? South Australia?
All states, 6 states. We've got wineries in 6 states around the country. So we have South Australia is our heartland. We have 7 wineries there in the Barossa, the Adelaide Hills, McLaren Vale. We've got Penfolds. McGill Estate is one of ours. We then have 4 wineries in Western Australia. So we've got wineries in Margaret River and the Swan Valley. 2 in Tassie, and looking to add some more members down there. 7 in Victoria in regions like the King Valley, Ngambie Lakes, Yarra Valley. One of our newest, Dominique Porte, has just joined us in the Yarra Valley, and the Mornington Peninsula. And then New South Wales, Hunter and Orange, and then one in Queensland, Sirime, who grow their fruit in the Granite Belt. Mm-hmm. And they've got a beautiful, really stunning setting at Mount Cotton, which is only half an hour from Brisbane. Seriously, 560 acres, half an hour from the CBD. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is a beautiful cellar door, that one. I have been there. Yeah, no, that's great. Oh, so anyone basically near any capital city could get one of your gift vouchers and get on an experience very easily. I know this is going to be like choosing a favourite child, but do you have an ultimate wine experience that you'd like to share with us?
I've got so many. And when I saw your question, I was like, right, what am I going to do with that? I think as we come into summer, our experiences either sit with perfect food and wine matching, something that really gives a sense of place for the great outdoors, our celebrations with the beautiful degustation meals, and then, of course, that discovery, looking at everything else that's going on. I think for summer, I'm going to go with something outdoors. And in our wineries, we have 3 wineries in the King and Alpine Valleys that all offer opportunities to do things outside with cycling and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to pick, it's at Brown Brothers, and they've got a new experience called the Food and Wine Adventure. They have a new young chef there called Bodhi, and he's basically his kitchen garden is taking over the car park, and it's really fascinating going out, and you go out and basically pick the food that you're going to be eating. The setting where they conduct the experience is in what they call the Prosecco Lounge. It's really light, it's really airy, and you really get a sense of what's happening in the King and Alpine valleys. So King Valley it's only 3 hours from Melbourne. It's only 3 hours from Canberra, really.
Right,
and they get a lot of visitors coming down across the border as well from Sydney. And there's cool places to stay. Feathertop has accommodation on site, and Pizzini, there's some really lovely places up at Whitfield. So you've got lots of options there.
That sounds wonderful. That really does. And finally, when international borders open, where would you like to head off to?
So many options. I'm 3 years in this job, and I'm a tourism person, not a wine person. I've drunk a lot of wine, but I really love learning more about where we sit on the global stage. And it is fascinating how, we really punch above our weight from both wine production point of view as well as wine tourism. And sorry, my dog's just saying hello to the dog next door. That's Murphy's Law. But I reckon I really want to go to South Africa. I think I've heard so many amazing things about just the way their wines are world famous, obviously, but just the way that they're able to introduce you to the wine scene in South Africa. I'm really curious about that. And Tourism Australia, their purpose is to invite the world to experience the Australian way of life. Our purpose, we extend that to invite the world to experience the Australian way with wine.
Yeah.
And I think that South Africa really understand. We talk about the diversity and the innovation of the Australian wine scene, and we know we're global players, and I'm really curious to see where South Africa sits in that mix. So that's what's on my list.
And you can it's not far from Cape Town, and Cape Town is a fantastic city. So
and it's so interesting because I went to France and to Bordeaux, having been there before in non-wine capacities, and I really it's lovely, and the heritage there is phenomenal. But, Australia's not as stitched up as Europe, so we are able to tell our story in a really unique way. And that's why our experiences, most of our audience is Australians. Most of the people that book us are Australians. And I think since the borders closed, even more have discovered that there's a little bit of Bordeaux in their own backyard. But it's definitely our diversity is at the heart of that, not just the rules and the regulations. It's like, these are the conditions. What are we going to do to make the best wine possible? So that's what we're about.
True. Yeah, and I think South Africa is similar with it being a new world country as well. So
totally.
That's great.
Totally.
Thank you so much for your time. That's it.
That's my pleasure, Jeanene.
Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe now to get each episode as they drop. Go to winederlust.com.au for everything discussed today. You can also subscribe to my newsletter and hear of all upcoming events, news and merchandise. Till next time, happy wine travel.